Boy, that didn't work out the way I wanted to. I thought I was going to start by playing some beautiful flute music, but got to get it just right. Anyway, I don't want to struggle with it at the moment. All right, my beautiful friends, how are you? Yes, so we are on the verge of entering the age of unconditional love. I don't know how you feel about it. I don't know if you feel it or not, but it is just right. It's so close. So close. And it will show up when we decide it's going to show up. And I don't even really know how I got onto this. I was thinking about time, and I recorded a video which I haven't uploaded yet about the nature of time. And even from theoretical physics, the idea that we live in this fixed universe that goes from point A in time to point B in time, even theoretical physicists are saying that's just not how things work. That time that we experience here in 3D, time is not just an illusion. I've said that a bunch of times, but what can you do with that? But what I've been hearing lately is that time is the result of the interaction between different objects in space. And if you take that a bit further, it means time is the result of what happens when consciousness interacts with itself. When somebody says something to you, looks at you, touches you, communicates with you, it creates an interaction with you. Things get moved around. And when things move around as a result of interaction, the result of that is measurable time. Which means, if we didn't interact with each other, there would be no time. Time wouldn't exist. And we define ourselves based on either actual interaction with other conscious beings or the perception of interaction with other conscious beings. And when that happens, we define ourselves. And that definition, when we interact with other people, we have a definition about who we are. And we make definitions about who they are. And then we interact with them, and simultaneously we are saying, I am this and you are that. And if the other person likes what they're, or expects what they're about to hear, you're a good person, you're a bad person, then, and they enjoy that interaction, then it bolsters their definition of themselves. So, There is a force that goes beyond all of that. And it is the force that actually exists. There is one thing that is concrete, that is real, that is timeless, that is indestructible. That force is your essence, your soul. And your soul is made up of nothing but love. That is the essence of who you are. And for whatever reason, in three-dimensional time, in order to define ourselves, we tell ourselves we're a bunch of other things. And then other people's definition of themselves and their definition of us bumps into each other and clashes, and then we have all kinds of whatever responses we have. And I was thinking about history. I'm going to probably be all over the map here, but bear with me. I was thinking about history. As you know, I'm a history buff. And one of the reasons you haven't heard me talk a lot about history lately is because as a result of investigating the Mandela Effect, I have come to the conclusion that history is, you can't bank on it. You know, I made a video about the Black Tom explosion. That never happened. But if you go looking for it, you will find that it did happen. It is a recorded part of our history that I guarantee you did not exist 20 years ago. I guarantee you that. So our history, our time is changing itself. It is morphing and changing. Things are disappearing. Other things are appearing. And based on my history that I've had, if somebody talks to me about the Black Tom explosion, I either have to let go of my identity to accept it, or I have to say, no, that didn't happen. I remember, because in my life, but it did happen, and yet it didn't. So that means that everything that I've talked about, when I talk about the Roman Empire, and we don't even know if the Roman Empire ever existed. We have actual history that records it. It's not fake, somebody didn't make it up, but it doesn't mean that it actually happened. And all we have is this moment. That's all we will ever have. And in this moment, we have an opportunity to be completely connected to our soul, which means we have an opportunity in this moment to be completely connected to complete, total, unconditional love. I feel very strongly that this is coming. The more that I'm doing my work, my spiritual work and my meditations now, and the more that I tap into those higher dimensional planes and interact with higher dimensional beings, the more it becomes absolutely clear to me that all of the things that we've been afraid of cannot survive. The only thing that is going to survive is unconditional love. That's it. Nothing else is going to survive. This experiment that we have been having about trying to find our identity in a hostile world where you feel abandoned, alone, isolated, unseen, unloved, is going away. I can't tell you when, because again, time is such a malleable thing. And what I've come to find out is that the rest of the universe does not function on time. I don't know what it's like on other planets, but I know that they don't have watches. And I feel pretty confident that, you can't go up to somebody and say, hey, when are you going to get such and such done? And they're going to go, oh, I'm going to get that done in a week. I don't think that they operate like that. And your reality, if you were able to drop every single attachment to your idea of who you think you are, positive and negative, if you were to be able to drop your attachment to the idea that the world around you is a concrete world that goes from point A to point B in time, if you were able to drop all of the feelings and attachments that you have to what you believe the laws of reality are, and if you were simply to be able to attach only to the essence of who you are, which is pure love, you could create absolutely anything. Myself too. Absolutely anything. There is nothing you could not create. And one of the things I've learned about three-dimensional time, which is going away, and as it goes away, now that I feel pretty confident that the very thing that we've all been trying to move past, exiting the matrix, achieving enlightenment, becoming a perfected immortal, whatever it is, the very thing we've been trying to escape is the most powerful crucible for creativity that the universe has seen. So make no mistake about it. When we graduate to the next level, the entire universe is going to celebrate. At the same time, there is going to be some bittersweet memories of the power that was available to humans to create. When the pressure of three-dimensional reality hits you, you either find ways to create from your love and hold on to that, or you knuckle under and you become a victim, or you become angry, or you become limited or selfish or narcissistic or whatever. It's kind of the only way, because none of us denies that three-dimensional reality is challenging. None of us denies that it's for many of us is incredibly painful at times, very sad, very lonely. But that crucible of the perception of being alone, the perception of being unloved, the perception, accurate or inaccurate, the perception of being abused, the perception of being trapped. If you respond to those pressures from your soul, you will create something. You will create something beautiful. I mean, listen to think of your most favorite music. When you listen to it, whether it's Beethoven or whether it's the Righteous Brothers or whether it's Black Sabbath, I don't care what. Any piece of creative art that touches you and gives you an experience of being a being of light, that gives you an experience of celebrating your emotions, your emotional reality. That is the response of a perfect being of light who is feeling the pressure of three-dimensional reality. And they took that pressure and created something with it that is timeless. I mean, some of the, I've been listening to music lately and been thinking about, some stuff you've listened to your whole life, you haven't really thought about it. And for whatever reason, I'm listening to things that I've been listening to for 40 years, 50 years. And I realize that those pieces of music are eternal. They will never die. And they'll never come again. Pick your favorite group. There will never be another one of that. There will never be a time that has those specific feelings and emotions attached to it that creates the specific pressure that created the loving response. Maybe a desperate response of the soul to seek something beautiful and to express something that reached other people and allowed them to experience, we would say, their humanity, but I would say their soul. And that time is coming. It's leaving. That time is leaving. But the time that is going to come is going to be a time where people will not respond negatively to other people. They will not have any judgment. They will not look at another person, because in order to judge somebody, you have to be judging yourself. You have to. You cannot judge another person if you completely love and accept yourself on every level. If you love and accept yourself, even if somebody's operating from their pain, from their limitation, the only response you will have is to see yourself in them. And you will have compassion. You will say, wow, if I was in that position, I can see why they feel that way. You won't even get into the question of whether or not you would do that or not. You would just be experiencing them, accepting them for who they are. You would be seeking to see who is that person. This is really the only time this ever happens in three-dimensional reality, and even that is not something that happens all the time. The only time that this happens is between a mother and an infant. That's really the only time, and that, of course, assumes that the mother has some individuated, healthy feelings about herself. But if she does, her instincts are going to stimulate her to look into the baby's eyes and see and seek to find what is unique about that infant. And when they see what is inside that infant, because they won't be projecting, they won't be judging, they will be openly wanting to see the perfection, the beauty of that infant. And when that happens, there can be no judgment. This is why, mothers look at their children and think their children are the most special, most unique children in the world. And that's true. To be able to be seen for your specific individuality. And we struggle through our whole lives wanting to find somebody who will see the uniqueness within us. And when we do find those, one person or those few people, we fall madly in love with them, which again is a projection. We're trying to love ourselves. But we're coming to a time when there will be the combination of all of those things. Nowadays, if that happens, you fall madly in love with somebody, the whole world disappears, and it's just the two of you. But imagine having that experience with every being you came across. that every conscious being you came across, that you interacted with, you saw them uniquely for who they were. And you saw the perfection and the infinity within them. And you never once thought about, I hope this person sees me for who I am. I hope they love me and accept me. Because you will have that experience with yourself. That experience that you know that you are the most amazing being that's ever come into existence. That there is no other being that even comes close to who you are. And you have an awareness of your own uniqueness, and you have an awareness of the absolute brilliance that you will bring to the universe. And not only that, that the universe would not be able to exist if it weren't for your specific, unique vibration that you must give to existence. We're going to go into a time where nobody will feel insignificant, that nobody will feel unworthy. Nobody will feel superior to anybody else. And it's ironic because you'll have the experience of knowing that you are the most beautiful, most amazing, most powerful being that's ever existed, and yet you won't be comparing yourself to others because you'll be able to see that in them also. You'll be able to walk up to them and say that to them and mean it, all the while knowing that that is also true for you. And this time is coming. And the next question that pops up is when? When is it going to come? And then we start thinking about time again, which doesn't exist. Time is merely the reaction of two conscious entities relating to each other, interacting with each other. When that happens, things move. And that denotes time. So the question of, when is the solar flash going to hit? That's a question that can't be answered because that assumes that time is a real thing. And it's not. But in the present moment, everything is possible. Everything. The solar flash is possible in this exact moment. And the only thing that's waiting for it to come into existence is for us to know that all of the other things we think are actually happening, that are preventing that thing from coming, that all of those things don't exist. Or they can be transformed instantly. Instantly. And it's just whether or not we have, what word can I use? I want to say the ability, but you have the ability. The commitment, the desire, what word do I use? The intention, you just decide. And then it happens. And when we have gotten to that place where we decide, it will happen. And then we will be in a completely different reality where what we intend manifests instantaneously. You want something, you won't have any doubt. Because right now, what the main thing that's preventing us from manifesting the life of our dreams is our conflict, is our self-directed shame. We just don't feel worthy. And this is what solidifies reality into this state where we're in, where we believe we're in this three-dimensional forward-moving time matrix. The thing that keeps us there is self-directed shame. And we all have it. It's the ego. Now you know who Jehovah is. The reason why Abrahamic religion, the worship of Jehovah in the three big, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, the reason why that became monotheism became the religion of the three-dimensional world is because that is the religion of shame, of self-deprecation, of unworthiness, not having value, lack of individuation. I'm just giving out different words and phrases for the same feeling. Because that's what allows you to stay in 3D space-time. And for those people who want control, who want riches, which is control, for people who want to have control, they can't do that without devaluing other people. And as I've said, they can't devalue other people if they haven't first devalued themselves. And so in order to continue to devalue oneself, they must have a deity that devalues them constantly, and boom, up comes the burning bush, and there's Jehovah, the great ego, I am. The great ego, I am, who says, take your shoes off. Says, how dare you, this is holy ground. How dare you be your authentic self in my presence. So, I don't really know what more to say. I just, again, I was doing my work, and I was connecting to the higher dimensions, and it just became so obvious that that's where we're headed. And it's here now if we can accept it. It's not a question of, I don't know how else to say that it's coming, but it's here now. It's here right now, if we can accept it. And the moment that we can, it will manifest and it will be irreversible. And the experiment of 3D human space-time will come to an end. And the new experiment of 3D/5D Earth will begin. And of course, we will have open contact with other civilizations that operate on a completely different level. We are, I said it before, I'll say it again, we are surrounded at this very moment. At this very moment, each one of you listening to me is surrounded by thousands of conscious beings who are with you, who love you unconditionally, who see you for who you truly are. And what they see is the most beautiful being that's ever come into existence. They are filled with the most intense love for you and want only your happiness and your evolution. And the only reason that you can't see them or interact with them is because we are attached to this idea of 3D. But the moment that we can drop that attachment, the moment we have the ability to do that, we will be aware of all of these other higher dimensional beings that are around us all the time. We will be aware that we already, here's what you don't know yet, here's what all humans on the planet, maybe some do, most have no clue, that they are already a member of an inter-dimensional, intergalactic, inter-universal civilization of conscious beings. We are already part of that. It's just, in order to be a part of this experiment, we have to forget the experiment of 3D. We have to consciously forget. I talk a lot about the unconscious mind, but there's something even deeper than the unconscious. And that part of you, which is even deeper than your unconscious, that part of you knows everything, knows that you are part of an intergalactic society of conscious beings. There's a part of you that knows that you are in a 3D simulation. Consciously, you don't know that. And when the veil is lifted, people will slowly wake up to what they've always known about themselves. All right. So with that, I guess I can open it up. Looking for the questions as always and the honest feelings. Thundra Gucharan says hello. Gurcharan, sorry. THUNDRA.thunderwizard.com. She's one of my Vedic astrologers. She does a bunch of other stuff. A healer in her own right. THUNDRA.thunderwizard.com. And of course, Vincent.thunderwizard.com. Also one of my astrologers, and you can see on here all the other good stuff that he has available for you. Go check him out at Vincent.thunderwizard.com. Paradise Unlimited, honest feeling. Positive, overwhelming, oh wow. Light beings are with me all day, all night, during my sleep and in my dreams. I'm allowing myself to allow them to guide me. Good, that's all it takes. Anybody listening to me, if you want to know on a deeper level the essence of who you are, and you want to have a deeper awareness of your relational interaction with all other conscious beings, you can face the northwest. Very simply, just sit and breathe and get an open posture, open your arms up, and just simply ask, what should I know? What do I need to know? And what these beings will always do, they will never communicate to you in a way that isolates you from others. They will never communicate to you in a way that is negative. They will always communicate to you in ways that you can flourish, and simultaneously how you will benefit others. You will always be shown the interrelational reality that we are connected to everything. Everything you do vibrates throughout the universe and affects every other conscious being. And so if you open yourself up to that, face the northwest, and ask for guidance, you may find out things in your life that are not serving you, and you will see how those things that aren't serving you may be damaging to other people. Or you may be shown how amazing you are. One of the things that stops your ability to hear the light beings is if you can't tolerate the thought of somebody telling you how amazing you are. If you have direct interaction with these beings, the first thing they will do is they will overwhelm you, telling you what an amazing, beautiful, the superlatives, there aren't enough superlatives. They see you as a deity, and they will try and bring that out in you so that you see that in yourself. Whenever you interact with a being that demeans you, devalues you, criticizes you, that is not a spiritual being. That's either your own insides or it's a negative being. But these beings never do or say anything that will, this is why it's so important to understand all the stuff you've heard about abductions and all that garbage. Those things happen, but they have nothing to do with extraterrestrial beings. Extraterrestrials have nothing to do with that. And extraterrestrials are not just beings of different species who happen to live on other planets. I mean, they may have an incarnation, they may not. Meaning they might have a physical body, they may not. And whatever that body looks like is immaterial. It's completely irrelevant. What they are is, and how they identify themselves is far beyond any of that physical 3D limitation. For them to interact with you just as a 3D manifestation would be, I mean, I'm sure it's something that's going to happen, but it's like the least profound experience you can have. So, I mean, eventually, we get to the point where there are extraterrestrial beings. We would call them extraterrestrial, but they don't have bodies. They've evolved beyond the need for bodies. They're pure energy. They're pure consciousness. And I wish I could describe the feeling. I wish I could describe the feeling of what their energy is like. Anyway, I'm in the midst of writing a book, so maybe I'll be able to describe it there. I don't know where that came from. I don't remember. I was responding to your feelings about being with the light beings. Agent of the Universe, Creative Virgo tries to give a compliment. Agent of the Universe, honest feeling. I feel saddened for the universe I've created for myself, and I find it hard to accept that I did this to myself. Agent of the Universe, that is a completely unnecessary feeling. I mean, you can have whatever feelings you have, but the sadness you have starts from a judgment. So you've already judged that you've created a horrible universe. The good part about it is you're not projecting that onto other people right now. So that I appreciate, because that's your tendency. Your tendency is to project that onto other people. By the way, you left a comment. Your last comment that you left, you were responding to one of my videos, and you don't realize how destructive that comment was, because you don't realize that whenever you communicate from your fear, your pain, and by pain I mean your victim mentality, you always hurt other people. So I appreciate that you're conscious of your sad feelings. And that's where it should stay. You should say, I feel sad, whatever it is. But the next part is a jump that isn't accurate. Because your first instinct is to beat yourself up. And, just as it's damaging for you to judge other people, it's also damaging for you to judge yourself. So I invite you to learn to love yourself. Feelings are going to come up, sadness and other things are going to come up, and that's okay. But the choice to judge yourself is just that, it's a choice. It may feel like an irresistible choice, like you can't help yourself. But the truth is you can. In every single moment you can choose to see yourself differently. So Agent of the Universe, I'm sorry you're in pain. I would really love to know that you were still in therapy, because I think it's very important for you. So I hope that you're still in therapy. You need it. She's got Spirit Lounge. That's Grace, grace.thunderwizard.com. She is one of my rune readers and a very powerful healer. Creating with Chrissy. So welcome to the channel. The way this channel works is on the live streams is we do questions or we share honest feelings. Anything other than that, and I feel stimulated to analyze what you've said. So since you're new to the channel, you don't know that my pet peeve is going after any victim mentality. So you say, this 3D world is so heavy, I can't wait to be free. That has the assumption that something outside of you will come and free you. And it also has the, there's a negativity about it, which I understand. And if you can hear what I said earlier about the beauty of the three-dimensional reality is that what we perceive as being heavy pressure that wants to push us in a direction to go into self-shaming or judging or victim mentality, we can either choose to do that, or we can choose to valiantly strive to bring our soul, which is our love, our unconditional love for all consciousness and all life. We can strive to bring that into our reality. And what will happen is you will create something. You even have it in your name, creating. So your creation comes not from running away or from denying the intensity and the challenge of this experience, but to take that and then to listen to your soul and express. And then you will create timeless beauty. You'll create beauty that will never fade, even when we've moved on into the new 5D world, which we will someday, maybe today, create. Paradise Unlimited, honest feeling. Woohoo, I just realized I have more than enough funds to buy a Vedic astrology reading. Good for you. Okay, creating with Chrissy. Thanks for that. I'm looking for two things. I'm looking for a question, or I'm looking for sharing your feelings. Okay? You don't need to defend yourself to me. You don't need to explain yourself or defend yourself. I've said what I've said. If it hits home and it has some value, take it. If I'm off base, move on to something else. You don't need to put that energy into defending yourself, explaining yourself to me. It ends up creating conflict that doesn't serve. So, what else? I don't see any other questions here. Whatever. I said what I said. I would have liked to have had something more to say, but I can't. I'm just overwhelmed with the awareness that I have and the connection that I'm feeling towards this idea of living in a completely, I want to say perfect, but a world of unconditional beauty and love. And I can't help but feel that it's just right. I mean, I can almost taste it. And here's the good news. You can bring it into your life. You can live it. You don't have to wait for it. You can live it now. If you're new to the channel, this here, the thunderwizard.com website, if you go there and you subscribe to the Warrior 90-Day Lightning Qigong, you will have access to the most powerful, most unified energy system on the planet. And this practice, you just basically hit play and you follow along and you do the exercises with me. And what will happen is this energy, some of it is higher dimensional energy, will come into your body, raise your cell vibration up to a higher level, and you will be able to do things you weren't able to do before, including shifting your consciousness, shifting your reality, and creating everything you've ever wanted. If you feel like you are attacked, if you feel oppressed, if you feel limited, if you feel isolated and alone in 3D, the way to overcome that is with a higher vibrational energy, and that's not done by thinking it. You actually have to have some techniques to bring that into your body. That's what this is here for. So I'm not waiting around for the solar wave to hit. That's what my guides called it. They didn't call it a solar flash, they called it a solar wave. I'm not going to wait for the solar wave to hit. I'm going to do what I can to bring that 5D awareness into my everyday reality. I may not feel it, but what I do, like, where I live now, I'm lucky I live close to the beach. And I wake up in the morning, and sometimes when I wake up in the morning, I'm not in the best headspace. I wake up in the morning and I walk down on the beach, and if there are people there, I make the conscious intention that when I walk past them and I look them in the eye and I say good morning or I say hello, I make the conscious intention to see myself in them. I make the conscious intention to see within them the perfect being of infinite light that they are, even if their physical representation and their mood and what they're doing may completely go against that. I know that underneath that illusion is this perfect being. And I seek to experience as best I can the essence of everything and everyone around me. And I do that not to be a good person, not to be righteous, not to be spiritual. I do that for one reason only, and I do that so that I can bring into my reality this thing I'm talking about. Because I know that sitting around and waiting for it to happen is the least effective strategy. The best strategy is for me to take responsibility to do what I can to bring it into my life. And when I fall short, because in 3D I have these practices. And if it weren't for these practices, I don't think I'd be alive. All right, I did a little business and talked, seeing if there were more questions that came up. Nothing came up. So that's it. That's all I've got. If you're new to the channel, please go onto the thunderwizard.com YouTube page and look in the playlists, see the videos that we have, and of course check out all the links here. The books are here, courses.thunderwizard.com, and thunderwizard.com is the main subscription site where all of the real powerful teachings are. But there's no shortage of free stuff on the channel. Please make use of it. All right, since there's no other questions or comments, I guess we're done. Thank you, my friends. I love you with everything that I have in me. If I did or said anything that was dismissive or unhelpful or offensive, just know that I'm doing my best. And my intention in everything I say and do is to be as helpful as I can to help everybody find exactly what they're looking for. Okay, I'm all done. See you guys next time.